And welcome back to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. It's finally Friday. How you feeling, Mark?
Well, to be honest, it's funny you should ask that. I'm a little tired today. You know, I had an early morning. It's one of those. I had an early morning breakfast meeting, and I wanted to go to bed early, and I put in The Departed. You know, just kind of ease myself to sleep because we talked about it the other day. And I don't know. I found like when I'm watching movies I've watched before, it's kind of a good way to. And I hadn't seen in a long time. Couldn't take my eyes off. And next thing I knew, it was 1 o'clock. So So tonight I will sleep well.
Yeah, that's not a good one to put in if you haven't seen it in a while, because it's not a good nap movie.
I was riveted. I mean, I remembered like people were in it, but I didn't remember a whole lot of story. It's really there's a reason it won Best Picture. Yeah.
So yesterday, Pittsburgh Public Safety, basically they had a report about a snake, and then they received a photo, and then chaos basically ensued on social media. I'm not sure exactly what you saw, Mark, but from what I saw, basically became a debate about whether or not it was a native snake and there was nothing to worry about, or if the entire city of Pittsburgh should basically shut down because it's about to be attacked.
Well, yes. And if I was smarter, I would have the quote up. One of the things that the things that made me laugh were when they're handling this and they're like, if you can identify the snake. And the first thing I'm thinking of is like when we put up pictures of like bank robbery, there people are like, can you identify this person? And I can just see someone out there going, oh yeah, that's Larry. I know, that's Larry. And obviously they were talking about what type of snake. Then there was some official statement, if you can imagine this, from whoever that said, like, please stay away from the snake. Like, no kidding. And maybe they're enough. If you're dumb enough to just go up and tackle this 30-foot snake, then you're not smart enough to read any official announcement that's coming about it anyway. But it's just, I read those things and it's like an insult to my intelligence. Like, I see that snake, I'm not going near it, I'm running the other way. And you're from the farm, so you're tougher than me. You would probably go up and grab it behind the head. Well, I don't need an announcement to tell me to stay away from that thing.
No, well, here's the kicker. It was like, I'm 90% sure that this was a native species. I'm pretty sure it was just a rat snake up in a tree. This was the other weird part about the story. First, Pittsburgh Public Safety released the notice without the photo. So they basically did this without knowing exactly what was going on, what the snake looked like. And to me, like, to ensue panic, and not that there were like people running around like with their heads cut off, but to ensue panic over something that you're not entirely sure what's going on yet didn't make a ton of sense to me. The other part is then they release the photo and they're asking people if they can identify the snake. But in the photo, it doesn't show the head of the snake. And I'm not an expert, but I do know that one of the most important parts to identifying a snake is its head. Like the shape of its head, the size of its head, like very basic concepts of identifying snakes start with the shape of its head. So to try to identify a snake based off of a picture without the head of the snake, it just didn't make a ton of sense. Then a lot of people within the state who are like herpetologists and specialize in this stuff come out and are basically saying like, you idiots, it's a rat snake. It's a native species. Nobody harmed the snake. There's nothing here to actually report on.
Well, I've heard that it was a rat snake and it's a native species. Is there any chance that it was a homegrown rat snake that was fed from a cabinet? Because that thing looks big.
Listen, it definitely looks big. Here's what I will say. Perspective is everything. The tree that it is on is not big. So it's really easy for that snake to look longer and wider and just thicker when the tree or the limb it's on isn't very big to begin with. So I think there's a perception issue right here with the photo as well. Again, I just can't, like, this became the most shared story in the state of Pennsylvania yesterday for a rat snake. And I just, like, for me, that's uncomprehendable. Like, I do not understand how we got here.
Is there any chance that this is since the head is cut off in the picture, is there any chance that this is a nude selfie of the snake that it was sending to its snake boyfriend or girlfriend and just didn't want their head in to identify?
You're the reason stuff like this becomes the most popular story in the state of Pennsylvania.
I will say this: we were talking to people the other day at North Central. We were actually interviewing, and they said, like, "What do you like to read?" And my immediate thought was, if someone asked me that, I would say clickbait, because I am the biggest sucker. If I'm scrolling through and it said the 10 largest snakes found in Pennsylvania, I am clicking on that. Like, it doesn't matter. It could be about ghost towns. It could be about why these co-stars on a TV show all secretly hated each other. Like, I am in.
Oh, it's this last thing before we leave this topic. And I again, like, I'm blown away. This became the #1 story in the state of Pennsylvania. Like, if your first, you kind of hinted at this, if your first instinct is to take a photo of this snake and like you're trying to identify it, or you're trying to do it, like somebody to panic and notify the authority. Like, have you ever seen a snake and your first thought was to call the authorities?
No, my first thought is to run. That is my no, but I do get your point. It's well, and I think I didn't know until you said it that they first released this without a picture.
Yeah.
So just imagine, we're in the world of Godzilla, King Kong right now, and it's like the whole, the shark thing in Jaws, that you didn't see the shark for the first 91 minutes. You can just imagine how big these people thought this snake was. There's some 75-foot snake that, that could eat Volkswagens whole. And so I'm sure not having a picture just amplified the fear.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely ridiculous. Matt Gaetz has been in the news recently.
Speaking of ridiculous, let's go on.
He's been in the news recently, and we wanted to take a little different angle with this story. Try to avoid a little bit of the left-right with it, but it came out today that there is a Venmo account that looks like it's going to bring him down. It turns out that there was a message exchanged, and then through Venmo, there was an exchange of currency to 3 different people that happen to be ladies. And it looks like that's going to be the thing that kind of, that's going to be doing in Matt Gaetz. For me, the irony here is, like, politicians still haven't figured out how social media works, how this stuff works. It's there forever. If you do something online, people are going to find it. And that is the kicker to all of this for me.
Well, it is. I mean, people just do things because they don't think they're going to get caught. All the way back to even not, when kids are skipping school, they're not going to get caught. That's why they do it. And but yeah, the electronic stuff that comes back with the emails and with the Venmos and Venmo. It's funny that all the accusations and people are coming out saying it was the worst kept secret in Florida government, and none of those things stuck. But the Venmo, once you get the money involved, this is the one that's going to bring him down. The thing that I find craziest about this whole story is they called it was like the snitch, which they were using Harry Potter references for this sexual conquest game. And when there's 2 things that don't go hand in hand, it's like, guys trying to score with women and Harry Potter. Like, they just seem to be from totally different realms of society. So, and maybe the irony of it is what made them seem so cool and about it is we'll just like give it. But like, when you think of, is there anything less sexy than Harry Potter?
I think for your generation, that's true. There's a whole younger generation that, like, Hermione posters are a thing. Like, there's like, that's, so I don't know about that, but I get your point. Like, there was this idea of like this wink, wink, like nobody's ever going to know this kind of like idea to using the term snitch. And I don't know. Like, I recently just watched a documentary about heists, and their whole thing was they used to say, follow the money. And now they're moving to follow the social. And this is a combination of both. Like, if you had to pick 2 things to get caught, it would be like exchanging money in a manner in which was easy to find out, and then doing it in a social manner that's like posted online or is traceable through a device. And Venmo does both of those things. And Matt Gaetz apparently didn't think that was going to happen. And I just don't know. It makes too much sense for me.
See, in my world, I always say follow the muggle, and that'll take you right where you need to go.
See, now you're going to get investigated. They're going to think that's a code word for the Midday show.
The midday muggle.
Back to spin again. Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot one more time.
When you say one more time, just one more for today.
Yes.
So the way to get in is to join the Midday Show group. Go to Facebook, search Midday Show, join the group. The computer will spit out a name, and when it does, you win a T-shirt, and we put you on the wheel and a chance to win more. The wheel is obviously, and our whole show is brought to you by Wise Markets. That's why up there at the top you see Wise Markets, and we want to thank you. We want to thank them for sponsoring. You're going to see ads all over our site with them, but thank you for Wise Markets. And now we have the Wise Wheel. We have a $100 gift card. We have a $50 gift card. We have a $25 gift card. We have a couple other great sponsors like Eat and Run and the Break Room and the Moon and Raven. I think yesterday, didn't you give away a $50 Wise gift card yesterday?
I did. Yep. I'm a little bit on a hot streak.
So, and it's good right in time for the weekend. Now it's interesting. This is we're now, spring seems to be here, and it's supposed to be nice tomorrow. So there's going to be shopping things that you're going to pick up for the first time. People are going to start buying sunscreen, citronella candles, stuff like that. Your shopping trip, as through the winter, it's kind of the same all the time. Now you're going to start buying some stuff for spring that you haven't got before. So head to Wise Markets, and they'll get you ready.
All right, today's winner from the Midday Show Facebook group is Susan Geyer. Susan Geyer.
There we go.
Here we are. Let's spin it.
And now she's going to be Susan Winner.
Ooh, we added a little bit. All right, there we go. Don't call it a comeback. Moon and Raven gift card for Susan Geyer.
Don't call it a comeback.
Listen, you made me feel bad for like 4 straight weeks that I couldn't get a winner on the wheel.
You know why? Because you couldn't get a winner.
That's true. So I'm just saying, this is a little bit of a comeback. It's comeback season right now. That's all I'm saying.
Moon and Raven, we don't know where Susan's from, but if you've never been to downtown Williamsport, or depending on where you're at, we have people that are further and wider. But the Moon and Raven is a kind of a staple of the downtown Williamsport scene now. It's a fantastic place to eat. So congratulations to Susan. And good for her.
Awesome.
And good for you, Jeff. Good for you. You have to feel good going into the weekend.
I do. And now I don't have to apologize either, because once I apologize, I have to apologize to everybody. So no apology. Congratulations, Susan. Thank you to Moon and Raven. You and I want to talk about this before we kind of wrap up the week and hit some other stories quickly. This story came out about golf. And, 5 years ago, the worry with golf was like younger people aren't playing it. It's expensive. No younger people don't have clubs. No one's getting into it. Country clubs were starting to fail. And then COVID hit. And one of the industries that I personally think COVID was fantastic for was golf, because what else could you do? And a lot of younger people who were looking for ways to compete and get with their buddies, golf was a great excuse to go and do that. But golf's new problem is one that's a little harder to fix. The courses aren't long enough. And you kind of hinted at it, especially for professionals. These guys are whacking the ball so far that they're making par 4s and turning them into par 3s. And now these courses are paying people a lot of money to come in and try to fix this. And it's not a simple solution.
No, when you look at how courses are laid out. Now, when you told me this story, I thought it was funny because when you go to a course, like the hackers like me, the course is plenty long. And you get backed up because you got 60-year-old guys that are waiting, and guys are 100, and you're like, you can hit. You can't hit it that far anymore. And they wait, and then the people clear off the green, and then they hit it, and they end up 50 yards short anyway. But you're right, because the technology is so good, and the great players are so good that they hit it so much farther. Farther is the right word there, right? Further is degree, farther is distance.
There you go.
They hit it so much farther that a lot of these courses, and you've seen. They made Augusta, and we it's funny we do this story today because we're in the middle of the Masters, but Augusta has changed so much ever since, Tiger kind of started to make it obsolete, and then the other guys hit it so far. So that's the interesting aspect about it. But like you said, when you take an overhead view of a golf course, it's not like you can just move the tee box back.
Right.
Because now you're in the other fairway, because it's like a puzzle and they all fit into one. So there's a couple holes. You get holes on the edges, or you take out some trees or some things. There are some places on every course that you can, but there are lots of places on every course that you can't.
No.
And it's really going to, you're right, it's a problem that there's no great solution to.
Yeah, it's a logistical problem. So just some of the facts in this stories that I was just like, you just don't think about it until they say it. A golf course, Medina, in 1975, it was under 7,000 yards long. By 2006, it had grown to 7,560, and they're trying to push it to over 8,000. So they're trying to grow this golf course by an eighth, essentially. And they have spent over $2.2 million to do so. Another example, in 1975, a winning score at Medina was 3 over par. In 2019, Justin Thomas won it with 25 under par. So that's how much further. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what year was the first one?
1975.
It was really windy in 1975.
Yeah,
that's why.
That's what it was.
And just to prove that I pay attention when you talk, it's Medina.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
It's not. See, you're thinking funky cold Medina.
Yeah,
but it's Medina.
That's what it is. So Medina, and then the other one too, and this one blows my mind. At Bay Hill in Florida, there is a huge lake on the 6th hole that separates the green and the tee. There was a golfer who, for the first time ever in April, he actually shot the ball over the lake. He's the first person to ever do it. With that one shot, he was 170 yards ahead of his opponents who could not hit it over the lake.
Yeah, Bryson DeChambeau.
Yes.
And I think they put in rules about it, but they said when he went and teed it up, and then when you tee it up, you just tee it up. But then he stood like 90 degrees the wrong way, and they're like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I think I can make it.
Yeah.
And of course, in a practice round, Bay Hill is it's the Arnold Palmer course, and it's a famous Arnold Palmer bet. But I'm sure he's practiced it before, but they said when he did it, people are like, what are you doing? Yeah. And I think they actually are now putting in a no-fly zone rule that you can't do it because they can't make the lake longer. But and I'm sure he's not going to be the only one, but of the 144 guys entered in that weekend, there's going to be like 5 who can reach it. And then everyone else, it's like playing on Mario Kart against the people who know the shortcuts and you don't know them. You can't win. You just can't win.
A 170-yard advantage is out of.
I mean, when you just see him tee up, and like you see guys, there's water all. I mean, you go to White Deer and there's water, but it's like he's hitting it over a lake. You're like the land is way over there, but they hit it a mile.
And they've talked about too, it's not as simple as just adding more bunkers. They've tried narrowing fairways so that way people who are just hitting it hard, like as hard as they can, they're saying, well, no, precision matters. But what they've noticed is that it doesn't. Like they're better off hitting it 100 more yards into the rough than hitting it 100 yards less into the fairway. So
my brother and I have talked about this because my nephew's a really good golfer. My brother plays a lot now with him, and that is like the late, like as sports change. Baseball, they're much more conscious of home runs and don't care about strikeouts as much. Basketball, they shoot 1,000 more threes than they used to shoot because they realize that guys are good at it. And in golf, it's better to blast it and play a shorter shot from the rough than to be cautious and play it from the fairway, and they just take their chances. And the issue with rough, you can make rough thicker and stuff, but you can't grow the trees fast enough. These trees, it's 100 years to grow. So those are the issues about not being straight. If you're in the rough, you can survive. If you're behind a tree, that's when you got to go sideways. So
it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
When you and I go out and play golf, it will never cross your mind to say, wow, this course is too short.
No, I think 18 hole. I don't know how people play 18. I'm blown away people play 18.
Well, because you have a good hole and you think you're good, and then you have a bad hole, and then you need to have another good hole, and you have a bad hole.
I've never played 9 and then thought to myself, I really wish there was another 9. Ever. I've never said that to myself.
Never?
Ever.
So, now, one of the reasons is you've never been married and you don't have kids. So, like, when you go home, life is peaceful. You know, when you're married with kids, you're like, why aren't there 27 holes on this course? While I'm here, why don't I just keep going?
But I can shoot the crap with you up at the clubhouse. Like I don't need to walk another 9. Like I don't need to want to hit myself over the head with my club after.
But then you kind of feel, if you're not playing, you feel obligated to go home.
Well, maybe. We'll see. A weekly wrap up, just a couple things we want to touch on. We talked about Taylor Swift before. She just re-released Fearless. This is, I believe, I want to say her 4th album in like 16 months. Now, obviously, some of them are remakes or reboots, but she is like on a mission since COVID started.
And I might have to buy the re-release because I bought, there's been so many. I bought one of them and I can't find it. So I might have to buy another one. But yeah, like when you just said Fear, because she's had so many, I don't know. I was in Target one day and there it was, and I bought it, and now I don't know. I can't find it. So,
I would love to see a history of your your random Target transactions as you're just walking through.
Yeah, well, I don't know why mine would be any different than anyone else's. Like, why?
Because yours is always like the DVD bin and like CDs from 1992.
Listen, I love the DVD bin. When I go into Wise Markets, the one in Montoursville, they have the DVD rack, and now more and more you can buy like the 5-movie pack. That's what Departed. I watched it last night. I ripped it out of the wrapper. I don't know how long I'd owned it. There were 5. And they were labeled the Academy Award winners. There's 5 of them. I got it for like $6.99 at Wise Market. The Departed was one of them. Driving Miss Daisy was one of them. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And then there were some really old ones like From Paris with Love, or I don't know, some that I'll never watch. But, you know.
I'll avoid the really old ones transition here I could have went with. Unfortunately, Prince Philip has passed this morning. The royal family announced. What was his exact title? I can't remember. They called him the Duke.
I was gonna. No, that's John Wayne.
Okay.
There's no one. There's no British dude that us in America call him the Duke as long as John Wayne.
What's his actual title?
I think his official title was the Queen's husband. I don't like. What did he do? What was he? How did he get this?
He was called something. He had a title.
What is there? Like what?
The best part about this is I'm bashing you for not knowing it, but I don't know it myself.
I don't. What? How do you get?
He was the Duke of Edinburgh.
Was this arranged? Like he was 99. So back that was it. Because I know William I guess fell in love with Kate and ended up marrying like for love apparently. But in the old times, like you had to marry someone who was, of royal blood or whatever. Like, was he? Did she even like him, or was it just like this is your husband? How did that work?
I mean, you got to choose. Did you even like her? Like
she didn't like me. That was the issue.
That was probably the problem.
That was yes. See now that was kind of an unfair shot because your old girlfriends just never got far enough to get there. Like I don't like it. They just found out quicker. I hit it longer.
Well, listen. This is a good transition. Speaking of guys who knew when to move on, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Peyton Manning stepped away from the game. Tom Brady's continuing to win Super Bowls. They are starting competing memorabilia companies, but they're online memorabilia. So they're focused on NFTs and things we've talked about before on the show. So now instead of competing on the football field, within a week, they've both announced that they're going to start their own NFT sports memorabilia companies.
Is there any chance that one of them who was first? Do you know?
Tom Brady's was the one I saw first, but that doesn't mean
don't know.
like it was in the works. And
is there any chance that one of them started it? The other one's like, I don't even know what that is. And they're like, if someone explained it to him, and he's like, I want to do it too. Is there any chance?
I think there's a great chance either of them really know what an NFT is or what's. I'm sure they like know, but I don't think they actually understand how it works.
You're probably right. They have people that are like,
guessing.
You're going to get this much of a cut. We're going to use your name, and this is what we're going to do. And they said, okay.
I'm just guessing. Happy birthday to Kristen Stewart. I don't know about your opinion. We kind of hinted at it. Like, she hasn't been doing a ton lately. Is she like? I think she might be the most underappreciated actress we have in America.
I was going to say, speaking of ex-girlfriends, I was going to say, when you pulled out today, hey, it's Kristen Stewart's birthday, my first thought was, so what? And then I thought, Jeff must have a thing for Kristen Stewart because of all the famous people. Twilight was a long time ago. You don't think Chris, like, if you were like, you don't think she's one of the best actresses we have in America? Here's my thoughts of Kristen Stewart. I saw the first Twilight and I liked it. I saw the second Twilight and I thought it was dumb. And I haven't seen anything since. I don't know if I can name another movie that she was in that I saw.
Okay, so there's a young adult novel called Speak, and she is in the adaptation of it. And she is incredible because the movie is based off of the fact of a girl who basically has like social anxieties and like is afraid to speak up. So the entire movie, it's just facial acting. Like she can't use dialogue to build the character, and she is incredible in it. It was one of the first movies she ever like actually did as a teen. She is incredible in it. Incredible.
Okay. And listen, I'm not taking any, like I said, I saw in Twilight, which I have my own thoughts about Twilight anyway. But here's my impression of Kristen Stewart. She is not overly bubbly.
No.
A smile is a long, long way from her face. Like, it takes a lot of effort.
When Kristen Stewart shows up, she's there to make a movie and chew bubblegum. And she is all out of bubblegum.
So then why this Jeff thing? Were all your old girlfriends, were they mean to you? Were you like the guy that just got yelled at?
No, but I respect somebody who's there for the craft and is good at it. And she is good. She's the most underappreciated actress we have in America. Hands down.
Whoa. That's a statement. I might have to spend the weekend to think on that one. But
find me a more underappreciated actress in America.
Okay, that's the gauntlet has been thrown. I will look at that. But so you're not expecting like you have this crush on her, but this crush, you don't expect her to be nice to you at any point.
No, I don't ever plan on meeting Kristen Stewart because, like you said, she doesn't smile much. But I'm okay with that because I just want her to make movies, and she's really good at it. Before we go, remember, Bean is on American Idol. I don't know the exact dates and times. Do you happen to know?
I think he's Sunday. He has to be on Sunday night, isn't he?
I believe it's usually Sunday night.
I think it's a round of 24, and they cut down to 16 is where I think it's at. This is another perfect segue. We are like kings of the segue today. Going from someone who has trouble smiling, and then this guy who just radiates like happiness and Bean's never been mean to anyone. And speaking of people who are very easy to root for, here he goes, the Loyal Sock grad Sunday night.
Yes. So just as a reminder, tune in, be ready to vote for him. Before we go, I will say, did you see him last weekend?
No, I did not. I knew he did the duet with
Groban.
Josh. Who?
Groban.
Yes.
His first song, he did a Dua Lipa cover. I thought the choice was good. I thought it was his worst vocal performance. With that said, his duet with Groban was like a winning performance. Like, that was, as I've watched this, I've always thought like he can compete, he can get there, but it never crossed my mind like he could win. Like, because just like usually you see the winner and they're just so. That was the first time to do it with Groban where I was kind of like, he could mess around and win this thing. It was good. It was. I think
I think his likability makes him so easy to root for that I mean, obviously, they're not going to vote someone through who's not that good. Like, they're not somebody who's like top 15 talent. They're not going to push them all the way through. But I mean, he can really sing. So if he's of the group of 24, if he's top 4 or 5 or 6 talent, his personality, I think, may get him over you're right. He may be there for the long haul.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Thank you guys. You know who wouldn't be there for the long haul? Kristen Stewart.
I thought you were going to say me, like all of my relationships.
No, hold on. I need it. You told me another movie that she was in that she was really good, or something that got held off.
Yes, she most recently was in an action movie called Underwater. It wasn't hugely successful. It didn't flub. It was just kind of like a normal action movie. It's on HBO Max if you're bored. But she has a couple of movies that are like in the can. We've talked before about how Tom Cruise is about to have like a massive like summer fall because he has like 3 blockbusters that just they held on to for dear life until people could go back to the theater. Kristen Stewart's in a little bit of the same boat. She has 2 or 3 movies coming up that will be released like late 2021 or early 2022. She's going to come back on the radar again because they've kind of kept some of her stuff canned moving forward.
Isn't that funny? I'm just thinking about this while you're talking. As a guy, you can be the intense, if that's your role. We talk about John Wayne, or we talk about a Clint Eastwood, who, we talked about Jennifer Love Hewitt the other day, who felt like she didn't get enough credit in the movie Heartbreakers because she was the young, attractive, bubbly hottie, and she didn't get enough credit for it. And now Kristen Stewart's the opposite. And so in a way, like as a woman, if you're focused and intense, you're not, you can't win. They can't win. They can't win. It's unfair.
I support Kristen Stewart.
Listen, I do too. I'm just saying she doesn't come across as overly friendly.
She doesn't need to. Thank you for
watching.
watching.
You don't come across as overly friendly, so you would make a great match.
You know what? I always close out the show. You close out the show.
No, I don't want to close out the show.
There you go. That's what I thought. Thank you for watching the Midday Show. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and we're really enjoying this. Thank you to Weiss Markets for being our title sponsor. Thanks to Moon and Raven. Congratulations to Susan Geyer on your Moon and Raven gift card. And we're looking forward to doing the loser wheel. We're looking forward to having John Mackey back for trivia next week. And we're looking forward to add some interviews. We're just looking forward to everything. So we're going to keep building it up. Go ahead.
No more basketball. Basketball's over. So Sunday night, you have no conflicts. Watch the local kid and call in. And you don't have to just watch. You need to call in and vote. Vote for Bean. He's got a shot.
He really does. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. Thanks for watching the Midday Show, brought to you by Weiss Markets at NorthcentralPA.com.
We'll see you.